What's up, my friends? I am Stat, and today we are here with the third episode of the Streamers Roundtable, and today we're talking about networking and collaboration. All right. If you're a sponsor, you can join in the sponsor chat on my Discord. The link is in the description, and you'll be able to talk and discuss your thoughts on this type of thing today. So first, I'm going to talk a bit about what I think about networking and collaboration and how I feel it has helped me, and also how it helps streamers in general. And we may have touched on some of these subjects before, but today we're going to focus on this. And I think going forward, we're going to try and focus on smaller aspects of streaming. And then from there, be able to just, because we were having like broad conversations, and I want to try and focus on the smaller aspects and only focus on those in the thing. And it'll be hard because I know we always stray off topic, but we'll try our best to do that. Hello, I'm going to say hello to everyone now. Next, how's it going? Brett C, Joshua Space Ruler, Brian Hackett, Mousy Karina, Metagaming, Carnage-tastic. Welcome, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out in the third episode of Streamer Roundtable. So I'm going to talk about collaborations and networking and how I think it is super important. So when I first started, I feel like every time we talk about this, I kind of give a story of how I started. But I think that it's important to know things that I've been through and things that I've seen other people go through and how it helps them. So networking is huge when it comes to any business, I think. But in terms of streaming, you want to get into streaming, you need to have the ability to like talk to people. You got to be able to network when either you're at a convention or when you're in someone else's stream. So if you have never streamed before and you want to start streaming, the people that I've seen do the best is people who kind of embed themselves in other people's communities and become like just a big part of their community. Let it be just by talking in their text chat or going on and playing with the streamer. And sometimes like it takes a long time potentially to do that, or it may never happen. But that's a good way to start like streaming, is to focus on being a part of someone else's community and then expanding from there. I personally did not do that. What I did was I just started from scratch, because when I started streaming, there was I didn't understand anything. I had no one talking to me like I'm talking to you guys now. I didn't understand anything about streaming. I was just like, I'm going to try this. So what happened was when I started streaming, what ended up being my way of networking was raiding people. So like I didn't know anyone. And when I first got a raid, it was from Lord Rage, who is an awesome streamer. And if you guys haven't checked out Lord Rage, I highly recommend it. He does a lot of horror, survival horror, but he also has expanded into other things now. But the thing is, I was raiding people because he raided me, and I really liked the idea of it. And then I started to raid other people, and it was like a way for me to show love to someone else who's streaming. But on top of that, it was a way to just introduce myself in a polite manner to another streamer, and then maybe they would follow me on Twitter, or we have a conversation, then we would play together, or we wouldn't, you know. But there was always that opportunity for that to happen. Now, if you think about the fact that I've done over 1,000 streams, I've done over 1,000 raids. So all those people that I've raided potentially know who I am, or follow me, or we've played together. And there's just so many ways to network in that sense. And it's just, it not only is it positive, it also can add to your network of people that you know. So raiding, to me, I think is something that is really cool. I highly recommend you guys do it. Even if it's a small raid, it's still worth it to share love and just be a part of a way to give back to the community. And that's what I try and do now, because I know a lot of people are trying to start out, and when you bring over people who are part of the raid, a lot of people that come over for the raid are actually interested in like streaming. They're like pretty hardcore into watching streams and things like that. So they could help the next person that you see and like next person you raid. So it's cool to do that. Highly recommend doing that. 1 point community. Yeah, we're not talking about PUBG today. Talking about just live streaming in general. Another thing is collaboration. So what's really important, I think, is there is collaborations, but you also need to know it's difficult, because in the beginning I didn't do a lot of collaborations. I did a lot of solo stuff, there wasn't very many collaboration style games you could do. I tried to do collaborations like one-offs and things like that. It was really when PUBG came out that I was starting to do more collaborations, because that game is literally designed to have 2, 3, 4 people play with you. Oh, sorry. 1, 2, or 3 people play with you, and then you guys just basically play the game. So in a lot of other games, not really like that. And also, I didn't really know too many people that I wanted to collaborate with back then. And so collaborating is really, it's a huge part of what you're doing, because it can help combine your communities. But on the downside of that, you also got to realize that people want to watch you, right? They're in your stream, they want to watch you. And when you have a lot of other voices, you don't necessarily talk as much as you would when you were just by yourself. So there's like this fine line where it's like, you want to stream with other people because, number one, it's easier on your voice, it's easier on your energy level, because you have other people who can be talking and there will be like no dead silence, and so it's easier on you. But that isn't necessarily what your community always wants. So you got to find like this balance between playing normally by yourself and then collaborating with other people. And then you also, you know, don't want to make people feel bad when you're like, oh, today I'm doing solos, or today I'm playing solo games. And it's like this weird balance that you got to find. And I think that is really important. People don't really realize that only collaborating isn't necessarily a positive thing, but there's the right amount. And I don't know what that line is, honestly, but I'm trying to figure it out. And it's part of the learning process of live streaming. So if you guys in the chat have any questions along these lines, you can ask them now, and I'll try and respond. Something along networking, collaborations, ask in the chat, and I'll try and get to you and see what if we can have a discussion about it. Chris Plays Game says, hold on. You want people who are able to be a partner in communication, not just people who are doing their own thing with you. Oh, there you go. Yes. So like adding to your conversation, adding to the stream, adding to the whole experience, and not just playing and live streaming on their own, where they don't really, they communicate, but then they're always muted. And sometimes there's like this awkwardness, because some people, like, I get it that everyone wants to live stream, but it's difficult. It's difficult to balance that. I don't know. I'm doing a dance here. You love the everyday collabs. That's good to hear. You made it. How's it going, feelings? What do you think the best way to ask a large streamer if they want to play with you? Honestly, I don't know. I don't think that there is a real good way to do that. I think that you basically need to be a part of their community. You need to be a part of their community, and when there's opportunity to play with them, like they're opening up their lobbies or they're asking someone if they want to play, if they only play with sponsors, like sponsor them and try and be involved. And like, you know, if you guys vibe and you can chat and basically play with them, yes, then that is a way, maybe. What's the most intimidating thing you feel about networking at events like PAX or E3? You gotta be confident in what you're doing. You go to an event, and if you go to an event and you're not positive, if you don't believe in yourself, if you're not certain that you are, or that you belong there, people can feel that vibe. And it's important to know that you are confident in what you're doing. You go there to have fun, and you go there to have a conversation, but it doesn't mean that every conversation will be good. Maybe no conversations will lead to anything, but you got to still have the positive conversation that even though you may not have a huge following, you have a positive community, you have a positive outlook, you're interested in the products that these companies are working with. And if you show them that side, doesn't always mean that they want the biggest community. Sometimes they like small communities where they have really loyal audiences, and they're positive, and it's a good vibe. Like people don't realize they don't have to be huge. You gotta be confident. You gotta believe in what you're doing, and you gotta convey that. And as soon as you have a negative feeling and you walk up to someone, they feel that vibe from you, and you don't want that. You don't want them to feel the vibe like that. You want them to, you walk up to them, they're like, oh, this guy and this girl is confident and feels positive about this conversation. Not be like, oh, hey, like, I know you make, you know, headphones, but it's like you got to go there with a purpose, and you got to give them a reason to want to talk to you. Make business cards so you can leave them with them. You're not positive? You gotta be positive. How do you think is the best way? Oh, I'm just about to read the same thing. You think collaborations are tough? I feel like you can't have enough. Can't have everyone streaming at the same time because the communication is hard. Yeah, it's tough when everyone is streaming. You're right. I think that's why having 1 or 2 people streaming and then the other 2 people are just there. That's why when I go onto Game Attack's channel or go into Julie's channel or they come to my channel, usually there's when they're not streaming so they can interact with my chat or I can interact with their chat or we can have a full-on conversation. I don't have to worry about muting myself or they don't have to worry about muting themselves when they're not streaming. And occasionally we do streams together like that, but I still feel like when someone is not streaming, it makes for a better live stream overall. And you got to take the time to do it on your stream and then do it on their stream. The worst way you think the worst way to ask streamers is to tip and ask them. It puts them on the spot and makes them feel awkward. Yeah, I mean that isn't necessarily the greatest way. I'm sure the streamer appreciates the tip, but yeah, asking for things like that are common though. It happens all the time and you kind of just have to go with it. It's just part of what this whole business is about. You literally have people who say they tip money and they're like sub to me or tip money and they're like please shut up my channel. And you know, you just got to go with the flow and have fun with it because it's weird. You're not gonna like it doesn't really do anything. Like shouting out a channel doesn't do much or does close to nothing, you know, unless you're some monstrous channel. And we just got a tip from Chris Plays Games, $5 super chat. He says, hey Stat, we should collab. Funny guy. Oh my god. What? Oops, let me move that.
Work in lower cloth less than 3.
Hey, thank you so much. Hey, Edge, to $9 tip. It's funny you did the kitty tip, and then look who shows up to the party. Linky shows up to the party. Links, what do you think about streaming? Tell us. What do you think? You think I spend too much time streaming? You want to spend more time with daddy? I think, you know, one of the most important parts of streaming is actually having a cat. A cat is a huge part of my channel. If I didn't have Lynx, my channel would probably be dead. So thank you, Lynx. Don't go. Don't go. Thank you, guys. Hey, that's a tip train. Also, if you want to be a successful streamer, always have a train whistle. You always want to piss off the neighbors. What's the best way to run into people who what is the best way to run into people who are also want to live stream and can help you out, like finding a collaborator or collaborate with you? Go to events. Go to events. Go to PAX. Go to E3. Go to VidCon. VidCon's not really gaming, but it's still cool to go if you're in the LA area. Any of those gaming meetups, Twitch, TwitchCon, all those things, go to them because there's streamers, there's gaming content creators, and people want to create. And it's not necessarily, like, you got to realize, it's not necessarily about the size of your channel. It's how you interact with the person that you just met. If you met, like, I don't know, let's say I met you and we vibe and we have like a cool conversation. It's funny. And we just, and you know, when you have a conversation with someone, just goes and you don't have to think, there's no awkward silence. It just works. Like, that is what I look for when it comes to meeting a friend or meeting someone that I want to talk to or someone I want to work with. Like, you got to have that positive vibes and like easygoing nature. And so if you have that, and you won't connect with everyone, but if you do connect with someone, there's a good chance that they would potentially work with you. And you got to ask them, be like, hey, you guys want to make a video? And don't just say, do you want to make a video? Give them an idea. Be like, hey, I want to make this video, and this is a challenge I want to do in this video with you, you know? And like, you know, we could do it on your channel, do it on my channel. So yeah, it's like, there's a lot of ways. And you got to also not just understand that like everyone's human. Everyone's human. They're just because someone's doing like successful doesn't mean that there's some, you know, person that isn't still down to earth, because I still think there's a lot of people that are down to earth that are successful. You may run into people that are not, but you shouldn't let that 1 or 2 or 3 experiences change your outlook on meeting other people, because it isn't how the most people are. And I know it's easy to fall into the trap of like, oh shit, you talk to someone, they shut you down and they made you feel bad. You got to just be able to be like, you know what? Thank you for being a jerk, because now I don't need to talk to you anymore. And now we are not going to work together, and I'm going to go find someone who's cool. And like, that is a positive thing. Like, even though they're being shitty, they are saving you time and energy and wasted, you know, mental energy that you don't want to waste. So it's a positive thing. Let's see. Don't rely on, hold on. How do you deal with NDAs and opportunities you have to turn down due to being a live focused channel rather than a VOD channel? Caleb. All right, Caleb. So yeah, so I'm a live streaming channel before VOD channel. I've been trying to create more VODs. If you guys have noticed, I do a lot of highlights now. That is in preparation for the Patreon that I'm going to be launching. And I basically want to try and do more VODs. But back to your question is, how do you deal with it? You just have to accept the fact that you are what you created. And I created a live streaming channel, and I can still do VODs, but they don't do necessarily as well as my live streams. So like a response that you could give to someone who's like, hey, do you want to make a video? And be like, hey, look, I can live stream your game. Instead of making a VOD, I can live stream a game. Some companies are cool with that because they're fine. You know, some people are like, no, we want to review it or whatever. And that's fine too if they don't want to do it. But you got to also realize that live streaming is all about community. Like, companies supporting are extremely important as well. So for instance, I have sponsors. I have Elgato, Gameflip, and Lifeform Gaming, and they sponsor the channel. And they are super supportive, and I appreciate that, you know? But also, the community is there, and you guys support the channel. And so I don't necessarily have to go and do these VOD videos to, you know, it would be nice if I could do them sometimes, but it can't always say yes to everything. The community comes first to me, so I'm not going to start doing these things as long as the community is there supporting, right? So it really depends on what you're creating, what you want to do, you know? And also, I appreciate you guys checking out the sponsors because they support me, and so I appreciate if you support them. So thank you for that. And yeah, so it's tough sometimes to make those decisions and turn down opportunities. Another opportunity thing that's hard to turn down is when a company offers you to fly somewhere and you can't because you need to work on streaming. You can't just go and then make a video which, you know, doesn't bring in very much revenue, so you got to stay and stream, and then you miss that opportunity. But then you also got to think sometimes it's worth it to go because you're going to meet a ton of other content creators at this event, and you can mingle with them. Like, I met Stone Mountain at a Battlefield event, and I play with Stone Mountain, and it's awesome, and like, he's a cool friend. So it's like, it's good to go and make those sacrifices sometimes. You just don't know when or which one is the right one. So you guys gotta go with your gut feeling and do what you think is right. As far as networking goes, is the company that usually reach out to you, and have you ever had to turn down sponsorship from a company you weren't sure about? Oh, I turned down a ton of things because, number one, I need to respect and like what I'm promoting, and I like something that I would use, you know, and something that I would want to show to people. And so yeah, I mean, I turned down a ton of people send so many emails saying, hey, you know, this website or this, you know, skins gambling website or things like that. And I'm just like, I don't really want to do that because I'm not into it and it's just not my thing. And like I said, I'm able to turn down these things because of the supportive community that is here. And so again, thank you for being that supportive and making it possible for me to turn down those opportunities because it's not the direction I want to go in. But it doesn't mean that I don't want to do those things. It doesn't mean I don't want to do those things. It just means that sometimes you got to turn down things because, number one, it just doesn't click with what you do. And you just got to know that that's it. I'm not going to do it. How do you start the search and get your very first sponsor? I'm an inspiring streamer. I'm building a new PC, so I'm able to start this awesome journey. Derek, first thing I would say is Do not even think about that. Do not even think about searching for a sponsor. I didn't look for sponsors for a very long time. I highly recommend you start networking within the YouTube. If you're starting on YouTube, you're starting on Twitch, wherever you're starting, you need to network within that community. So let's say you like survival horror. Let's say you like PUBG. Let's say you like, you know, or battle royales. Be involved in communities, and not necessarily huge communities, smaller communities, where you can talk to the streamer, where you can interact with other people in the chat, and there's a way to build up some sort of reputation for yourself before you even go live. So that is part of, you know, the beginning of live streaming. And like, as soon as you start streaming, focus on that. Focus on your overlays. Focus on the games and setting a schedule and being consistent and positive energy and creating a good vibe in your chat. Something we don't talk about a lot. And I'd love to get into that in one of these streamer roundtables, is like vibe and how important it is and how difficult I think it is to teach vibe. Anyways, we're not gonna get into it now. Shh, it's time. Next time. Bring back Agario. This is why I love random duo squads in Fortnite. It's fun interacting with people spread out in Europe. There you go, Nadav. That's cool. You get to meet someone new. You get to meet someone new. What is one way you can put yourself out in the world besides making as many videos as you can? Because it's difficult to stream my videos. I don't know if people beside you, your friends, see your videos. So, suggestion, I think that when you start making videos, you need to find out what video style or stream style or game style fits your personality. And sometimes that is a very hard thing to do. And I think that you need to rewatch your streams. You gotta feel like some people's personalities don't necessarily fit with some games. You know, some games that require huge reactions don't necessarily fit with someone who's very factual or very knows everything about the game but isn't a huge entertainer. You know, there's a lot of people who want to learn about.
I'll give you a vibrator for you stream exclamation mark ... Oh, wait, you said vibe. My bad. Carry on.
So that is Game Dojo. Let me tell you something. Game Dojo. Let's talk about Game Dojo here for a second. So I met Game Dojo through a raid, and I raided him because of another friend I met through a raid and through just a network of people that, you know, we had met through live streaming back when YouTube gaming was like a little thing. And I raided him and he was playing Call of Duty, and we just kind of became friends. And then like we started chatting, and you know, we talk about a lot of this stuff off stream. And I think that it's important to have someone that you can connect with, that you could talk about these things, because you can't always have these conversations out with people that you don't know. So it's good to have a friend who you could talk to about problems like this or things you're going through. I also do that, you know, with other people that that live stream, you know, like Julie, One Shot Girl as well. So it's like it's important to have a friend that you could talk to and reach out and maybe even just throw ideas out with each other and work together on trying to figure things out. So yeah, Dojo, great guy with a good dad joke there. Who am I inspired by? Who do you work with? Who do you want to work with that you haven't? Who am I inspired by? I honestly, I don't know. It's hard to say because I don't necessarily want to be like anybody. I like what people do and how people do things differently. So the inspiration isn't to become like them. The inspiration isn't to do what they're doing. It's more to I just enjoy what they create. You know what I'm saying? So I'm inspired by their content, but not necessarily to make my content like theirs. It's just that I like watching them, and it makes me think like, oh, cool. This person has like this great talent in this one niche area, and it's great to see. So it's tough. It's tough. I don't know. It's tough to say my inspiration. So I'm not exactly sure what it is. By the way, guys, if you haven't done so, make sure you hit that like button. Do it. So We have about 35 minutes left. We'll do 5 more minutes of questions, guys. Ow, links. What the heck? So yeah, 5 more minutes, and I'll open up the sponsored chat, and we'll do about 30 minutes of hearing what you guys have to say, what you guys think, and just getting more information from other people who stream or people who watch streams and just want to know potentially about starting a live stream, anything like that. How do you find your own style when there are so many other streamers who do the same sort of gaming? You got it. Like I was trying to say is there's different kinds of streamers. There's streamers who are fucking amazing at video games. Like they're links. You know, they're like professionals, and they don't necessarily have to be entertainers. They're just amazing at the game. There's other people who aren't necessarily amazing at the game. They're good at games, but their reactions and their attitude and their vibe is what keeps people in the stream. And so that's like another version of streamers. And I think I fall into more in that category where it's like my reaction, my anger or my happiness or my positivity, consistency, things like that are what keep people here. Even though I'm good at the game, I'm not a professional. I'll never be a professional, and my goal isn't to be a professional. I like to win, but I also like to have fun, which is why you'll see me run around and punch my teammate in PUBG, because sometimes it's boring.
I have no questions. I'm just here to watch that tidy beard. Hashtag rolled meat is no talk.
Is not okay. No talk is not okay. Rolled meat is not okay. Metagame with a $10 tip. Guys, hashtag up for metagaming. Stream boss and the success whistle. Thank you, metagaming. Appreciate you. Guys, show them some love in the chat. Metagaming. So, what was I talking about? I don't even remember. I just got distracted. I was saying, well then, welcome to the Streamer Roundtable. Okay, so moving on. Will ever eat pierogies with me? What? I like pierogies. Pierogies are good. I haven't had a pierogi in a long time. Am I gonna make a links emoji? Hey, if we get to 500 sponsors, we have a new emoji, but then at 550, maybe a link emoji. Who knows? Oh yeah, types of streamers. Okay, professionals, entertainers, and then there's like people who are just not necessarily professionals, but know the ins and outs of every game. It's like, oh, this is where you go to do this. This is what you do to do that. This is how many things you need to make this happen. Like, this is where the secret passage is, and you can only get here if you do blah, 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 blah. And so, yeah, that's like another style of streamer where they don't necessarily react, but they have the strategy and the meta, and they have everything down, and you can learn from them. So yeah, there's a bunch of different ways you can go about streaming. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to be some sort of hype entertainer person. If that isn't who you are, maybe, you know, try and not fake that, you know, and spend more time trying to be something else. Chugga, 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 choo choo. We're gonna have a water here.
Chug, 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 choo choo.
But again, we're talking about vibe, and I feel like we're getting off of collaborations and networking. And I want to get back to networking collaborations. So I am going to open up the sponsor chat and get some people to have a conversation here about what they think are the best ways to network and collaborate based on things they've done. Thank you so much, Deranged, and hashtag it up for them, please. All right, we're going to go in here and jump in. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. So not much. I am here, and I want to basically ask what you guys think about networking, collaboration, what you guys have done to try and expand those areas in live streaming. And I know it's easy to get distracted. We do it all the time. I just got distracted for like 10 minutes talking about something that isn't this. And I want to try and focus on networking and collaboration and what you think are the best practices in those areas. So anyone who wants to start can start. Just introduce yourself and then start talking. And then if anyone wants to chime in, feel free to do so.
I would love to start. I had actually the conversation earlier today. I'm Stellar Will. Hi. I had a conversation on my
Hello.
stream earlier today about the same exact topic.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the best way for people to organically be a part of like a streamer like you or like Chris or like anyone else out there is just
Mm-hmm.
be in the chat, you be active, you be a part of the community, you just say hi to people, say hi to mods, say hi to the community, the people in the chat. And then once you start kind of expanding from there, you kind of reach out to them either on Discord or maybe off stream or something like that. It's very like a organic process. You like Basis Dude said, you don't tip to get part of there. You don't ask the streamer on stream, hey, like, can you come play with me? Or hey, like, go in their stream. First thing you say is, oh, can we play? I have 300 wins and I'm top 5. Like it's more of an organic process, and a lot.
But how
of
long do you
it's
think that
just-
takes?
I mean, for some longer than others. There's no real like timetable on it. I feel like you just have to. I mean, it could be a couple days or a week. I know like a lot of people come into my stream. It's like if you are part of the chat, you're part of the community. Like you can support me or donate or be a sponsor. It's a lot quicker sometimes than others.
But you could probably use that as an example of how me and you met.
Exactly.
So how did you guys meet?
He had.
Wow, Basis Dude, are you at a party, bro? Basis Dude? Party? Okay, continue. How did you guys meet? Hold on. I gotta mute you, bro. I'm sorry. There you go. Tell me how you guys met.
He actually, I think I saw him in one of his promotions, and I just went to his channel. He had like 200 subs at the time, and he started asking questions about OBS or something. I was like, hey man, I'll be glad to help you out with it. I think we hooked up together outside of OBS or in Discord. I talked him through some stuff, then just communicating with him in the chat. Then eventually it was like, hey man, I can make you some thumbnails. I still make your thumbnails.
Yep.
And then
That's
we'll
awesome.
just go from there, and then it'll just turn into, if I'm available, he's available, we'll play together.
Yep, pretty much. So it's very like organic. I feel like there's no real like set, oh, I'm gonna play with you and we're gonna set up a time. Like with me and Mustard Plays, like Mustard Plays was just saying, hey, let's like he just invited me one day. He's like, oh, you're the Fortnite streamer, you're really cool. Like, why don't we play? And it was out of nowhere.
Right.
I follow his channel, I sponsor him. I talk in his chat. Just out of nowhere, he said, hey, you want to come play? And then ever since then, he's like invited me every week and he wants to come play with me. It's like more of an organic process rather than forcing. I feel like that's the
So do you think that like it's also important to be not necessarily in one person's chat, but in like the community of people that know each other?
100%.
So like it's not just necessarily
100%.
being in Mustard's Plays chat, but like people he's rated or people he's played with. It's like it's so that when he goes to their stream, he sees your name again.
And he goes, oh, I'm in so-and-so stream. Oh, I follow him too. Like whenever he raids someone, I'll go follow him. And then sometimes I see him in his chat. He's like, oh, hey, it's less like a direct, like I'm always going to be there. I'm always going to be just in his chat. It's more like expanding your name so everybody kind of gets to know my name. I mean, kind of like now how I come in your chat. There's so many people who say hi to me because I've been in a lot of people's streams and everybody, because you network yourself and you just keep expanding your name and people, oh, Stellar, oh, it's Will, hey,
Yeah, I know that when I started off, like I just did videos on my own for a while, and then, as a matter of fact, I think I was in the member of like 2 or 3 Discords, and now I'm like in 20.
Yeah.
So you just start, it's just a snowball. You just start snowballing. You get, especially like I know with a lot of you guys, I'd watch you guys when you go raid someone, but I'm like, oh, and their personality. It's the whole rule of like you got a lot of times with people watching, you have like 15 to 25 seconds to impress them, and maybe not so much impress them, but just see if there's something that triggers that, then spikes their interest in what you're doing.
Right.
And a lot of times, anytime we raided someone, that would happen, and a lot of times it was all natural. It wasn't like everyone's doing that and they're like, sub man, sub, everyone like, and then it's like, okay, back up, like let's start this over. And that's how it all was after I started meeting all of you guys.
That was Taco Fist, by the way.
Yes, it is. Sorry.
So yeah, thank you, dude. I appreciate it. Does anyone else have any stories about how they networked or collaborated and gone through that process, because I know that there's so many different ways to do it, and also talking about actually how much effort is involved in terms of time to do these things. Like, it's not necessarily so easy, because you honestly have to sometimes be in chat and in other people's streams a lot, you know, and it takes away from other things you maybe want to do with your stream, but you got to invest that time to get to know the other streamer and the other people in their community. So if anyone else has any stories, I'd love to hear them.
My name is Corgan.
Hi.
Hello. I'm not actually a streamer yet. I am basically a sidekick.
Cool. But what is a sidekick?
A sidekick is the guy who goes along with streamers. I'm working on becoming a streamer eventually and networking through the groups, meeting everybody, playing along with people, and going from there. And hopefully I'll start streaming myself shortly.
So you like join them in games, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's like a great start though, because people hear your voice, they know who you are, they know your name, and then, you know, one day you're streaming also when you're playing with them, and maybe the person you're playing with will let them know that you're streaming, or they'll raid you or something like that. So it's like a huge advantage to be able actually, because I feel like you're on the next step already. You're already on the step of like playing with people, which is a huge step up from just being in the chat.
Right, yeah.
Very cool, man. And when do you think you'll start streaming?
I just got some other things set up. I'm getting ready to get some more equipment and stuff set up for it. I'll probably do regular streams and videos prior to doing video, or prior to doing putting my face on the screen, put it that way.
Right.
And then go from there.
Awesome. Well, good luck, my friend.
Thank you.
Anybody else have it doesn't necessarily have to be a story. It could be also your input on collaboration and networking.
Hi, I'm Mash.
Hi.
I mainly was doing collaborations and stuff before I really like started streaming again, like for a very, very long time. It takes a lot of time and effort to like be a part of a community. I mainly lucked out by being a part of Kang's community back when he was in YouTube and doing Dead by Daylight. And then through that, since he was a part of like the bigger YouTube community, I got to meet more people like you and Julie and everybody else, and Game Dojo and all that. And just by being a part of one community, I ended up being a bunch of other communities as well. And
So how did you
being able
get a
to play with
part
a bunch of different people
of Kang's community? How did that happen?
I just talked in his chat. I wished everybody a good day and just said hello to everybody that wanted to say hi, and lucked into a game with him when I was just dabbling in streaming a little bit with Dead by Daylight, and then he ended up letting me play him some more. And when, you know, you're doing collaborations, it's important to remember that like you're trying to make it entertaining for everyone, not just for you to have fun or for you to shine. You really want to make other people shine as well. And like he kept playing with me because it was fun for him to play, I guess, and because I would always save my special heals so that I could bring him back up so that he would win, even if it cost me my life in the game.
Well, yeah.
And,
So that's really a good point, I think, that you're bringing up, is that it isn't necessarily just fun for you. It's like making the experience fun for everyone, and sometimes that at the cost of you know, potentially winning the game for yourself. And that's interesting. I mean, because I agree with you, and like that's the thing though. Sometimes you just vibe though. You vibe with people, and Kang has a very chill vibe, and I'm sure you guys. I never actually saw. I don't think you guys playing together, but it's like that chill vibe that he has. It just meshes well, I guess, with you, and I kind of wish I saw those videos now. I would have liked to see them. But very cool, man. It was what?
I don't know. I just got derailed.
Sorry.
I mean, it's just it's very, very important to like just try to be a part of other communities, whether it's bigger or smaller than you. Just because at worst case scenario, it's practice for you to work on your personality, and it's something that you can tone in on what you like and what you don't like and what is actually entertaining, because you can always go back and watch these bigger streamers or other streamers to see what you did that you like and what you didn't like. You can keep on working on that, and it's still something that's going to be helping you out, helping your channel, and helping you grow, even though it's not getting you subs or views.
Right.
And as far as like getting collaborations, being nice in the community, just being a part of that community and talking with everybody and trying to hang out, and make it a better place for everyone. Like, make it so it's a good environment, like you were talking about earlier with community. Like, having a nice chat is really, really important.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's part of the networking aspect as well. Like, no one wants to come and hang out in a chat where everyone's being rude, or like no one is talking, or you know, that's why you need to have people that want to have a conversation, even when the streamer is focused on doing their like playing or trying to win or whatever. And a lot of times there's like inside jokes, and as soon as that stuff starts happening, if you're a part of that, it's huge. Another thing is like, so Chris's face, I remember when I was playing Battlefield, like he wasn't streaming, he didn't stream at all, but he was always join my game because I'd always tell people where what I was playing or whatever, and every time he joined the game he'd always be healing me and in Battlefield, and like I had a good ratio because he sacrificed himself for me, and it was a lot of fun to play. And then he started streaming, and I don't know how I found out, but I feel like someone in chat was like, oh, Chris's face is streaming, or someone mentioned it. I believe I rated him at some point, and you know, and I subbed him or whatever. And it's just part of that thing is like, I don't know how many months he played Battlefield with me, but like he never streamed, and then he started streaming. Oh, hey.
Hey. I died a lot.
Yeah, you did. You had a terrible KD, and I had a great one.
The worst KD ever, but the highest res rate ever.
But, yeah, but that was like, that's part of like, you know, it's not like he had that in mind though when he was doing it. At least I don't think that was his intention.
No, not at all. It just happens. I just enjoyed your streams, and I was like, I just wanted to like help you continue on. I'm like, there's so much downtime when you die, you have to like run back to there, and
yeah,
you know,
and the respawn rate is so slow in that game.
It was so terrible. You had to run across the whole map. I was like, no, I get this. I bet you I could keep this guy alive. And then, you know, so I would sit there, I'd eat my 6 eggs in the morning time, and I'd play, and I don't know, just I had no intentions of streaming. I was in like really bad time with my health, and that was something fun for me, and I had no intentions to stream at all at that given point. It's just, I thought it was really fun.
Yeah, man. Well, that's the thing is like, I know I'm talking about planning these sorts of events, but I don't think that like the idea is to plan a way to like get into someone's community. It's got to be like organic in the sense that you like you first of all, you find a streamer you like, and then once you find a streamer you like, you kind of embed yourself there because you're naturally there already. And if you can join them in games, or if you can be a part of the community in more than one way, like, you know, the streamer, like for instance, in the streaming, when we do the hidden stream where I do like a game, and that game's usually use your words because it's hilarious to play. A lot of times, like if you join in these games, you make funny jokes, or you just are, you know, having fun and are there always, like the streamer most of the time would notice those things. So it's important to be not just a part of the you know, the main streams, but like the side things too that they do, like if they're, you know, doing a AMA or some sort of hidden thing in Discord. It's just being around is super important. So yeah. What? Oh, you can add whatever you want.
I also feel like, so streamers could tell if that person's there for you, or if they're just there for
to use
like,
you.
That second, like, oh, I'm gonna join this guy's community because I want to get games with him, and then maybe people will notice me. I feel like streamers catch on pretty quickly about who is genuine, because like there's people who like come in your chat, and then like they'll be there for a minute and never hang out, and then there's people who are always there, and that's when you start developing a bond, because you know, like they're there for you. They're not, you know, not there just to try to get their word out or whatever. They're there pretty much every day or whatever, whenever you can. And there's a whole difference between getting in a community to better yourself, and then a genuine thing just sprouting from being part of the community. There's a whole nother thing, and I think that's more beneficial than joining a community just to try to benefit, like.
Yeah, I don't think that would
yourself
work. I mean, so that's the thing is like when I'm talking about this, it may seem like that's what I was trying to say, but in reality, it's more about the organic like transition from enjoying someone's community, enjoying someone's stream, and then if you planned on streaming, how you can, you know, use that to some sort of push for yourself. But it's not like that was your main intention, but
Yeah.
it's important because it won't happen like necessarily when you want it to happen, but it could happen, which is what I'm saying is like for you, people knew who you are in my chat. They knew who you were, and they said your name, and like every time like you would res me or whatever, they'd be like, oh, Chris's face of rescue, whatever. And like when you started streaming, people somehow found out that you were streaming and then relayed that information to me. And so
I
when
shit
I
my pants when you did the Discord raid.
was it a Discord raid?
Yeah,
don't remember.
Even like I had no intentions. Like I was just doing it for fun, and
Yeah.
I had like three people watching me for like the longest time, and like just seeing like the beardos come over. I mean, that's such a cool feeling when you're a small streamer too. Like just people. I remember staring at it and be like, "Oh, the number went up. Oh my god, one person's watching me, and it was me with my YouTube page open." Like, you know what I mean? Like having that moment of when you don't expect it, and then someone doing something nice for you like that is really cool.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that's part of also why I like to do raids is like not. I mean, it's a good way for me to meet other streamers. It's a good way for me. Like, yeah, some raids suck when I, you know, raid weird people who are not happy or mad, or they have like text to talk on. And then, I mean, I remember we raided some dude who had text to speech on, and it was just terrible, and he was so mad. And like, but it's like, you know, you got to try, and like, it's not necessarily always gonna work out. And then sometimes you meet really cool people, and like you said, it's like a cool feeling for someone to get raided. And like, I wish that, you know, when I first got raided by Lord Rage, it was a really cool feeling for me, and I was like, whoa, this is something people do, because I wasn't deep into streaming back when I started. I just started because I heard YouTube was doing something, and I like YouTube, and I was like, oh, I'll just try and do this. I love video games, been playing them since I was 4 or 3 or whatever, and oh, now I could try and play them online. That's cool. So I just started, and it was like, when I found out there was like more to it than just playing a video game, it's more about building community, about meeting people, about like going to events, and you meet people that you have more in common with than people you know in real life. And that's like a really strange thing that in the last 2 years, I've met more people that I relate to than I've met in the last 30 years of my life. And I'm like, I feel honored to be able to do that. And I feel like without streaming, I probably would never have had that opportunity. So I'm so grateful to be able to meet like everyone here, and everyone I met at PAX, and everyone who goes to the next PAX and things like that. It's really cool. And that's like the benefit of it. That is aside from, you know, growing your own stream. It's just literally like making friends and having like a genuine outlook on what you're doing. It's not necessarily just to grow your channel. It's to make friends, to help out other people, and have a good time. Hey Josh.
Hey, Stat.
Were you gonna say something?
No, dude, I'm sorry. Was I typing too loud?
No, I thought you were, looked like you were about to talk, and then you didn't say anything.
Sorry,
But oh, it's fine. Feel free if you have something to add, though.
I'm just going through my growing pains. I think everybody does. I'm just, you know, I feel like I'm kind of up in the air where I am, and I love where I am, but to focus on growing, I honestly don't know what direction to go to. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, in terms of growth, like, that's the weird thing about YouTube or streaming in general, is finding the fine line between growth and community. Because sometimes if you're only focused on community, you don't really grow. But when you focus on growing, you kind of hurt your community. So there's like this weird middle ground where you're trying to like, you know, do both, but not punish one of them. So I mean, what I used to do was play any game that was popular. That's all I did. And any game that was popular, because everything on YouTube is based on search, and if people are searching for it, you'll get new eyeballs. If you don't play something that's popular, then you'll get a lot less eyeballs. Maybe the people that come through are more genuine. You'll get probably less subscribers, but the people that you do get would maybe be more, I guess, loyal in that sense. Because a lot of times when you play just new games, people are just searching. You get a lot of subscribers, but they may never come back, and that happens a lot also. So like this weird balance that you got to do, and some games are tough to grow with. I don't know if that makes sense, but YouTube is a weird
don't make
balancing
me play
act.
Fortnite, man. I suck at it.
I don't necessarily think Fortnite is the answer. I feel like Fortnite is saturated right now, and like I like Fortnite and I play it here and there, but I also think about the community that it fosters, and I'm not a huge fan of that. And avoiding Fortnite could be potentially slowing the growth of people's channels, but that doesn't mean that, you know, you also got to think about something that's like, you know, it's okay to have some downtime, because if you take care of your community, when that next big game comes out that isn't, you know, designed for kids or isn't completely overrun by kids, then you could potentially build up a better community in a month or two. So it's like, do you wait until that happens, or do you know, fall to playing whatever's popular? And I used to do that, and I feel like my community only started growing when I started to focus on that aspect of it, was that it's more about community and less about growth. And the growth will come when, you know, the new games come out and the new popular stuff comes out that clicks with the community that you've built. Because if you just keep swapping communities, it's tough. It's a very tough thing to deal with. I mean, I go through it. A lot of people I know go through it. And it doesn't matter the size of your channel. It's tough. And you can see some channels that are huge who play games that aren't necessarily what their community wants. And they struggle to get views. And it's just part of the struggle of streaming, I guess.
I think you're absolutely right, man. I think you just, my love of the community is overriding my good sense, business type sense to grow the channel.
Right. Yeah, well, that's the thing, is like, enjoy what you're doing. And hopefully there will be something that will click in the future as you like foster the community now. At least that's the way I see it now. It's not how I thought about it back then, but it's how I feel about it now.
Hey, Stat, can I ask something really quick?
Yeah.
With the whole like getting into people's communities and stuff like that.
Yes. Bring us back to the topic.
A lot of people and streamers that I see, they get part of these communities, and then they get people that trickle over from other communities. Say that person's not streaming at that time, and stuff like that. And I see a lot of people get kind of saddened or depressed seeing how their numbers drop down dramatically when X person comes online, and all of a sudden, like, they're, you know, everyone,
people leave to go to that stream, you mean?
To go, yeah, and it's a lot of people don't understand is that, like, that's just one of the good things about being part of a community and getting people from another community, but definitely working on your own community is something that is very important in itself, because a lot of people will dip to go see that bigger streamer, and will, like, they'll try to stay as long as they can or whatever, but for the most part you'll see a dramatic drop. And I think just pushing through it and develop, even though the views won't be there or whatever, gathering a person here, a person there, even when you're having shitty streams, adds up over a course of a year. You know what I mean? Instead of just trying to develop, joining other people's communities and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. I think that it is important to have that. Like, I feel like to start, that's more like what it is like getting started is the hardest part, I think, with streaming. Getting to 5 to 10 to 20 to 30 people watching, and you know, then 50 or 100, and it's like those are the hardest, I think, in the beginning. But once you start getting around 50 to 100 or 150, 200, like you can start fostering a community where it's like, even though other people will come on and potentially take viewers from you, it is still, there will be people that are down to stay, and like it gives you opportunity to do fun things that the other streamer maybe isn't doing, or like there's a lot of things that you could do that when there's slow times in growth or slow times in games, it's like you got to start playing random shit games that are funny, like getting over it, you know, and having drinks and just having a good time. It's like, or not having a good time. It's like there's a lot of there's a lot of things you could do that like that aren't necessarily exact, like playing PUBG or playing whatever the hype game is. Like building community is not always playing that one game. It's playing something different and showing a different side of you, and yeah, I mean, it is frustrating, I can imagine, where you start a stream and then you're like kind of dreading another person coming online. And I know I think you know, it's part of it's part of the reality of streaming. There's always someone bigger. There's always someone bigger. There's always someone, you know, who has more people. Fallen Natas, thank you for sponsoring the beard, my friend. Guys, hashtag it up for him. Say what?
I see a lot of that happening, and it happened to me a while back too, in which I was like kind of confused about my numbers and stuff like that. But some of the and it was like, at one point it'd be like, this is like when I first started, I was like, oh, maybe I'll just like stop at this time, whatever.
Right.
I've had some like the best interactions with my community ever since I started just pushing on. I've had some of the most funniest moments, and like kind of like real chats with some people, which have developed a lot of a better bond with the community. Sometimes when like the numbers are low,
those are like the loyal people thing, right?
Yeah, and that's some of like the best moments as me as a streamer has ever had, when you actually get to interact with, you know, when you have like 100 to, you know, you have thousands, but even when 100 to 200 people and they're watching, you don't get a lot of time to sit there and like have one-on-one and stuff like that. When the numbers drop, I think that's some of the best times as well. Just because the numbers are small doesn't mean that that's not like a good marker in your like YouTube career.
Absolutely,
career.
Because that's when you build the bonds with the people that are, you know, super loyal and want to be there for you, and are enjoying the stream altogether. And like it also gives you an opportunity to kind of open up and have fun and focus on those conversations. I think there's so many cool things that, in terms of like looking at like positive sides of like a negative feeling, and trying to turn it into a positive experience, like you just said. And a lot of people look at their numbers and get sad, or a lot of people look at their numbers and the thing is, like, there's got to be a way to have fun even during the rough times, and you got to find a way to make fun, because guess what, like, nothing you do will be up and up and up and up. It's like it doesn't exist, and it never will exist. And like that's why you need a network, that's why you need to collaborate, that's why you need to have friends around you, and not only be focused on growing, but focused on having fun, because having fun is more important. Even if you don't end up becoming you know, huge successful streamer, at least you had these experiences that are a part of your life now. And you know, not to put anyone in that situation, like, because I don't know anyone's future. But what I'm trying to say is that you can't go into streaming, you can't go into anything like believing that you got to be positive, you got to be confident, but you also have to be like realistic in a sense, and enjoy the moments that you have those days. Because if you're always looking for the next day to be better, then you're never enjoying the moment of right now in the stream with the people that are there. You're always like, oh, tomorrow maybe I'll have more viewers, but it's like the people that are there right now are what matter, and you got to focus on those people. So yeah,
I concur 1000%.
Well, thank you. So yeah, I does anyone else have anything? Because we're coming up on an hour, and I'd love to keep going if anyone has some other thing to add.
I would love to talk earlier about what you said about solos and collaborating. Like,
Sure.
get back on topic. Like,
For sure.
like you said earlier, it's when you focus on solos and being by yourself, the spotlight's on you.
Yeah.
And I feel like you develop your channel. That's how I started. I just literally did solos for like a month of Fortnite and just playing, keep working on my gameplay, keep working on the chat, trying to multitask and get that down. Then once I started feeling more comfortable, you start incorporating bigger and better and different people. But at the same time, like if you dual stream with them, a lot of them who are bigger than you, you know, they will go over to their channel and then your chat will be silent. And it's kind of like you get the views or you get the lurks or you get the dual streaming, but at the same time it's like those, I want those viewers to be focused on me. So it's like this fine balance between having people come on your stream and add value, between having people, like you said, being on mute. The communication is tough. You're trying to talk to the chat, you're trying to multitask, you're trying to say, hey, I have a tax stock for you, but then you accidentally mute yourself because you didn't realize you were muted, and it's tough. So
it is tough. But then again, like, so playing with people and all that, like I said before, and like what you're referring to, is it's good. It's great for your stream. It's great for collaborating. It's great for meeting new people, combining communities. But you also, I think that people need to have their own brand, their own personality, their own thing, and playing solos and playing solo games and just being you one-on-one with the community is huge. And a lot of people fall into this trap of like, oh, I always want to play squads or I always want to play duos. But a lot of time people want to hear your voice and they want to just talk to you, and they're there for you, right? It's fun to have collaborations, but I still think there's a fine line where you gotta not necessarily do either of them all the time. And I don't know what that fine line is right now, but I know that I enjoy doing both. And I feel like you gotta be able to hold your own on your own stream and not always rely on other people to come in and kind of, how do you say, like relieve you because it's
gap of this, like, awkward silence that you may bring by yourself. You have to be able to self-sufficient yourself in a stream, because at the end of the day, they're there for you. That's your username. That is your stream. If you can't do that yourself, you need to be able to, you know, pry something out of yourself, to be a little more out of your comfort zone. And don't be afraid to be yourself.
Yeah, and that goes into what someone asked, is like, do they think it's better to be a personality or be more like a natural, like yourself? Like they're saying like Dr. Disrespect versus, you know, he said Julie, One Chuck Girl, but
Julie,
like,
yep.
But basically, I think that it really depends on what you're trying to achieve. I personally have tried to be myself in terms of what I do here. Sometimes it's an exaggerated moment, but it's not like I'm acting. It's more like just a louder version of what I would maybe have said. And like a lot of people don't realize that like it's okay to be yourself, because when you're trying to necessarily be someone else, unless you're an actor or something like that, you could come off as cheesy, you could come off as not real. And people, there's this weird, like, Dr. Respect is very good at what he does, so like it's hard to compare him because I feel like he's an outlier in this business. And it's like I can't really, you know, I don't know. It's tough to compare it to him, because he does this thing so well, and he's got a great personality that he created. So it's hard to compare, but I don't think that that's necessarily the route to go. I think that being yourself is the easier route, because it is you being yourself, and if you want to evolve into something like that, then you can. But starting out, I don't necessarily think that's a great path, because you got to get up and act every day for 8 hours a day. That's extremely difficult, extremely taxing. And streaming on its own, just being yourself, is taxing. So having to act a certain way can be exhausting, and it may turn you off of streaming altogether. So I think that it's better to be yourself. It's okay to exaggerate like, you know, reactions and things like that. But yeah, it's not, I wouldn't say that that's the best way to go. I prefer the other natural way.
Your networking, collaborating thing. A lot of it too is like, I know when Will and I played Sea of Thieves, for example. If he's gonna stream, I'm like, if he's like, oh, I'm gonna start up my stream, then I'm like, okay. He'll ask me if I'm gonna stream. I'm like, no, I won't stream while you're streaming. And then it'll be like a later thing that maybe I'll do. So a lot of it is just talking with who you're playing with. if you're playing with other streamers who are gonna be streaming, then you just I don't know. I guess for me, it's kind of like a respect thing. Like if, like say for example, I'm gonna play with you, Stat. If
Yeah.
you're streaming, I'm not gonna stream to like further myself along. I'm gonna be there for that and not be there for some other motive. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, there's some like sometimes like when people join me and they stream, I don't mind as long as they're like, you know, courteous in terms of muting themselves. But obviously that always ends up being some people, you know, even I do it where you forget to mute, or you mute and then when you're not supposed to mute and then you unmute when you're supposed to be. It's like a weird thing that like you just accept and it's part of it. But sometimes I try and join other people and have them join me when I don't do it, because I can give them my all and give them my attention and focus on their chat and being a part of their community. So I like what you said. It's true. Like sometimes it's better to just not stream and to just join in and have fun and not necessarily with a goal in mind. So I think you're on the right track there. Basis dude, you wanted to say something? Are you still in the kitchen or wherever that loud noise is coming from?
I think it was the gym.
I was in the gym and I'm in my car right now, so I probably sound like crap.
Sounds like a Ford.
Oh,
wow, driving a Nissan, bro. Nissan. It's a lease. I forget what we were even talking about when I was gonna talk, dude. Something about organic. I mean, I watched UStat for like a year, I think, before we ever played together, and it was not something that was ever really on my mind, like as a goal. Obviously, it was just something that kind of happened. Where one day I was in a chat and you happened to say like, "Are you working from home?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, it's a Friday. You want to come play?" I'm like, "What?" It was never something I expected to happen, and so it just is something that kind of I stumbled into by being a part of the community for a long time, like a very long time. I think I want to say it took over a year.
A year? Was it really that long?
Yeah, it was a pretty long time. Maybe it was like 9 months.
But so that goes back to like the whole concept of actually just enjoying the stream and being a part of the community, enjoying the community without the mentality of that. Because anyone who goes into that sort of situation hoping for an outcome like you had, and it takes a year, like there's no way they would make that journey. So
oh, exactly.
Yeah, so it's like
that's why I never. To
Go
me,
ahead.
it was never like a business proposition or anything. It was just like something that happened out of nowhere, really. And even when I started streaming, I never really thought I'd play with anybody that I actually knew. So like when Chris's face asked me to come play, or when you came and asked me to play, and I think Julie was actually asked me to play before anybody else, and it came out of nowhere, really, and it was never something I ever planned on.
Well, that's what's awesome is like you going in it with like positive intentions and like just trying to be a part of the community, having fun, and like, you know, dropping memes and just doing your thing, right? just doing your thing, you know. It's like it's super cool, and I feel like there's a lot to be learned about that, and that I feel like a lot of people want to stream, but they don't realize that it's almost like an organic, natural evolution of what you do in terms of what, like similar to what you did, or like same with Chris's face. There's like this, and Mashstars also is like this evolution of like starting without the intention of starting, and it just is a cool thing to hear these stories, because I know they happen like in my chat, but obviously I don't see everything. I don't know everything. So when you guys come out and talk about it, I really like to know the process it took for you to go from, you know, just being someone who's hanging out to someone who started streaming and you know, got asked to come play, and then is now like a staple in the community. So it's like, that is, and it's not a short thing either. I mean, Chris's face too was like months, if not a year. Like it was long. So like it's cool, man.
And I think a good part of it is not to treat it like a process, really, because to me it wasn't. You know, I mean, I had never even watched a streamer until I just happened to stumble into like one of your first Battlefield streams.
Yeah.
I thought it was so weird that people would just sit there and watch other people play video games, even though I play video games like 6 hours a day or whatever.
And then you got
went
addicted.
from that, and then a year later, I was streaming. I was playing with other streamers. It was really cool.
And now I feel like you like remember what I was saying about like meeting other people that you connect with versus like people you know in your real life. Do you feel like that's happened to you as well?
Oh, heck yeah, dude. When we went to PAX South, I felt like I was around 30 of my best friends I've ever met.
Isn't that, man, I agree with you, dude. It was like the same for me. And that's another thing, like that's also networking, collaborating, or not collaborating, but networking is like going to these events, because it just so happened that PAX South became a place where everyone was going. But being a part of a community that does like those types of meetups and like want to hang out, I think it's so cool. And I had, honestly, PAX South was probably my favorite event that I've been to. And it was because everyone came. And it was just so much fun hanging out with people that I've seen every day in the chat or hear their voices, and you get to know people more, and the chances of playing or just playing games, even if it's off stream, it's like you meet someone to play games with. It's just a really cool feeling, and it's something that is sometimes hard to do in a day-to-day life when you have like a 9 to 5 or you're in school or whatever. It's not always easy to find people who are down to game. So.
Oh yeah.
It made me realize that all you guys are just people who want to play video games and just normal people.
Yeah.
Whether you have 5 subs or 500,000, we all just sit here and like to play PUBG, like to play video games. That's it. Bottom line, we're all just people.
Exactly. Well, guys, thank you so much for all your input. Thank you for coming out. I want to do another one next month, and I know today's the last day. I'm going to try and do last day of the month. I forgot that it's February, and today's the last day of the month. So we're gonna do like a video night thing tonight, and I'll put the link. It's for sponsors only, so I'll put the link in the sponsor chat, and you guys can come out if you want to come hang out. We'll watch a few videos together, and yeah, and then we'll do this again, and that also next month as well. I'm gonna try and do it a bit earlier in the month, since hopefully there won't be any flooding this month. So yeah, I appreciate you guys coming out. Thank you for the input. Thank you for taking part in this. Like I said, this is so different from what I normally do. It's out of my comfort zone, and I like trying to do things like that. So I just appreciate everyone who hangs out. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, guys, have a great night. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, guys, thank you for the hearts. Yes, Patreon is launching in March, so I will keep you guys posted on that. And thank you again for hanging out today. You guys are amazing. We are going to be doing the video night thing a bit later, and you guys can come hang out and we'll watch videos together. That'll be cool. It'll be on YouTube. I'll keep you guys posted. Again, don't forget to drop a like on this stream if you enjoyed it. And we'll be back tomorrow with our normal streams as well, at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So again, like, I appreciate you guys. We got a new sponsor. The sponsor thing isn't working. We got Derek Benson, and then we just got the Nerdlinger. So we're gonna put these beards up on the board, and then we're gonna end the stream. We got 3 new sponsors. Thank you guys for sponsoring during this awesome streamer roundtable. And then we're gonna put these up. I don't know why it's not popping up, but yeah, these 1 hour like podcast style things are different, and I do really appreciate you guys hanging out while we do it. It's so different, and it's really fun. It's really fun. And again, you guys are amazing. I could not do this stuff without you. I appreciate all the people who came through today. Also, please go into the video once it processes on the channel, and maybe put some info, like maybe what you think the next topic should be, anything underneath, like leave a comment what you thought about this video and things you'd like to talk about potentially in the future. Here we go. Nerdlinger. Derek Svensson. Fallen Natas, thank you, my friends, guys. Hashtag it up for them. And we're gonna be ending the stream now. No raid today. But I will keep you posted on the video night, and then Patreon will be starting in March, and then also we'll be back tomorrow 9 a.m. Pacific for another stream. Daily streams 9 a.m. Have yourselves a great day. Peace out, my friends.